You're a crackhead and you just created a successful manga, accumulating a cult fan base of fellow crackheads, even popular enough to get an anime adaptation. Suddenly, everyone and their mother jumped on the hype train to glaze your manga to the heavens. Peak, the best manga of all time, only for it to fall off a cliff 2 arcs later. Why does this happen? And if you think about it, this really only happens to one genre, shonens. Shonens, specifically battle shonens, are notorious for having the biggest fall-offs. People love to clown on the new gen for fumbling their endings, and oh boy, they fumbled alright. But before we touch on those failures, you must realize that shonens have been fumbling since its inception. Please take off the nostalgia goggles, because most of those classics we hold dear ended up in the same flaming dump as the new gen. Naruto, a space mommy created Boruto. Dragon Ball, Goku boxed with a black kid and then abandoned his family. Fairy Tail, I don't even need to talk about that. And I could go on forever, but I'm not. No matter what year, 90% of shonens will fall off. And for us to understand, we must examine each pattern, starting with the most egregious, burnout. Being a mangaka is hard, especially weekly. Trying to meet deadlines while maintaining the quality of the art, characters, and story is a ludicrous task, no matter how much help you have. It's more understandable for the OGs, because remember, old shonens used to run for hundreds of chapters and episodes. No sane person can maintain their drive for that long unless you're Goda, and I'm not even glazing, I'm just being honest. However, it's strange because old shonen mangaka didn't burn out until way later in their manga's lifespan. But the new bloods, they burn out after this 3rd arc. It's insane. And my theory for this trend is because of the rising expectations. Old shonen mangaka had the luxury of being the OGs, so they were able to pad the hell of their stories without repercussion. These new authors are seemingly trying to fix the flaws of the shonen genre, avoiding all the pitfalls of their predecessors, for better or worse. Looking back to when Attack on Titan and My Hero first released, and yes, Attack on Titan is a shonen, you edgelords. People praise these series to the heavens, claiming them as the saviors of shonens, as they revolutionize tropes such as strong female characters, high stakes, good pacing, and all types of glazing humble jumbo. Now look at modern day, and all of that praise has been slapped upon their faces. Well, Attack on Titan is still fire, in my opinion. This hindsight irony applies to all modern shonen. Why is that? That's because these authors put all of their gas into the beginning, because if they don't, they'll get axed in a heartbeat. Shonen Jump is ruthless with their standards. If you are not the most popular manga in 10 chapters, sometimes 5, you're out of here. So it low-key feels like new authors don't plan for the future. They just want to hook an army of simps into peak, then coast off the success of their manga. Another big detrimental effect on modern shonen is the pacing. Old shonens were infamous for their bloated ass pacing. Hundreds of chapters of nothing, sometimes garbage, but necessary garbage. This fluff allowed the author to expand upon the characters and world, and emphasis on characters, because it seems like modern mangaka hate their characters. While some old shonens did sideline half the cast, at least their presence was there. This allowed them to cultivate fan bases. Modern shonens seem to massacre most of their characters. They be calling people like it's the Hunger Games. But I guess you could argue these deaths allowed for high stakes, which old shonens tended to lack. But there's a very thin line between a Kamigai kill and Attack on Titan. So when there's no character to root for, it's hard for the audience to keep interest in the story. Then there's the world building. One of the best elements about shonens is seeing how the badass power systems, characters, and the overall fundamentals of the world interact. Old shonens tended to specialize in that, but it seems like modern shonens want to keep it contained to Japan. And that's understandable because that's what they know. but it's still kinda lame if you ask me. And this lack of world building is reflective of the pacing. Modern shonen mangaka want to end their stories as soon as possible. Hell, the most famous modern shonen mangaka right now, Geki Akutami, isn't famous for his open disinterest in his own series, JJK. This man, or woman, has had enough of drawing demons fighting. They just want to draw cute idols. And frankly, I'd say, let them. This person has created one of the most iconic manga of all time. Would her idol manga be as successful as Jujutsu Kaisen? Probably not, but who cares? They've done their job entertaining millions. So while it's a shame modern shonen mangaka might not have the same love for their stories as their predecessors, it's arguably better for them to end their manga as soon as possible. Otherwise, they suffer the shonen curse. Few shonen have stayed consistent to the end, which is most important, and nailed the finale. And while it may seem like I've gave modern shonen a ton of criticism, remember, old shonen had its fair share of problems which caused them to fall off too. It just took longer. Pretty much every criticism I have gave modern shonens could be applied to old shonens, but in reverse. Pacing, rather than obscenely fast, is obnoxiously slow. Characters, rather than dying every chapter, they get sidelined forever, which might as well be a death. Stakes? Okay, this is a dub for modern shonens, because old shonens, let's be honest, it's kind of hard to take their stakes seriously once you notice the pattern. But nevertheless, shonens must fall off, because let's be honest, nobody goes into shonens expecting top tier writing. We just want to see people box. And the authors agree, we're all meatheads. That's why the few shonens that don't fall off are loved for factors beyond the fighting. One Piece, and even that's arguable, Hunter x Hunter, Fullmetal Alchemist, etc. These are exceptional manga, and their authors are goated.